No one asked what the results were, nothing. So that was like a waste of $95. It was like 70 pounds and it came out to like $95. That's another thing I'm gonna get into a little bit later on this list, the money. What's up, idols? It's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So it has been a long time since I uploaded. 죄송합니다. I'm sorry about that. A lot has been happening in the past month. Nothing of it which was according to plan. I can't even speak. So because of everything that's been going on lately, I thought it'd be fun to do a video where I kind of just talk about some of the differences that I've noticed, because for those who don't know, I have been in the UK for a month. It's been over a month now. And I thought I'd do a bit of a comparison between what it's like in Korea versus what it's like in the UK, because those are two countries that I've been to this year. Yeah, I've had a bit of a creator's block lately, and I've been distracted lately. And I took to Instagram and YouTube and got some suggestions from you guys. Thank you so much. And this was one of them. So I thought I'd make a list of the things that I've noticed that were kind of different between being in Korea and being in the UK. Please remember to turn on the notification bell, because I upload randomly, just whenever I can, really, whenever I have something to make and whenever I can like have the time to like edit it. Subscribe if you're not already, and also leave me comments for suggestions for videos, types of stuff that y'all want to see. I saw that the last time I asked, everybody's like, show us London Bay. We just started dating and it seems like people really want to see him, and I'm not trying to like shove a camera in his face, but he seems pretty interested in like being here too with you guys, and he liked y'all after that live that we did. He's like, yo, squad is so cool. So yeah, let me know how y'all, what types of stuff y'all want to see. And please leave a like if you like this type of video. This is my first one back in a while because I've just happens sometimes. All right, let's go. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Dossier. Y'all remember them? This time they sent me 2 scents. I got floral grapefruit and floral honeysuckle. One thing that can be kind of difficult when you buy perfume online is you can't smell it. So what's cool is on their website they have like a quiz, and you can list off the type of ingredients you like, the scents you're going for, and they can match you up with a perfume you like. And I got the result of very floral, very sweet, very flirty type of fresh scents. And it's funny because I was never like the perfume girl. I didn't really care about perfume until I went to Korea. And every girl who walks by you just smells so elegant, smells so good and fresh. And I was like, I want to smell like that too. So I got some perfumes. And the cool thing about these is they're all inspired by high-end luxury brands. So even though you don't pay any more than $39 on their website for scents that cost anywhere between $50 to like $300, that sounds like kind of a bargain to me. If you're interested in trying these for yourself, I will leave everything linked in the description box below. There's a 30% off total that you can get. There's 10% if you use the code that I have linked. And also if it's your first time purchasing on their website, you get 20% as like a welcome discount. So you can save 30% off of already affordable luxury fragrances, and you can smell like the queen that you are. Smells nice. Okay, back to this video. So like I said, I got suggestions from people for like what type of videos I could do, what type of content I could cover, and one of them that really piqued my interest was talking about some of the differences between the UK and Korea, because this is my first time ever in the UK. And I was also in Korea earlier this year, a few months ago, and especially coming during quarantine, there were some stark differences. For example, going to Korea is like trying to get through Fort Knox. You shall not pass! Like, you have to test negative to get on the plane, but I think that's like any international flight now. But once you get there, you're greeted by people at the airport, Incheon Airport, covered in hazmat suits. They got their face masks on. You can't see nothing but their eyes, and it's like you feel like you're a test experiment. It's a little much, but I get why they're taking this seriously and being strict. So they guide you where you need to go. They're like the shepherd. You're just the sheep. You follow wherever they tell you to go, and you fill out the forms. They check your temperature. They ask you questions about where you've been for the past few weeks and days. They ask you if you had symptoms, all that good stuff, and then they need to know your visa status. They need to know your accommodation plans, all that stuff before you can go anywhere. When I got to London, however, when I got through Heathrow, I literally just walked right through. So they say that if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine. And they say that if you aren't fully vaccinated, then you have to quarantine for like 8 or 10 days or something like that. So I had all my papers and my documents out. I'm like, I got my test results, I got my vaccine card, I got the QR code on my phone, I had everything, and I'm just waiting to show it to someone who works there. There was no one, son. I literally just had to scan my passport on like the little reader, and I walked through, no stamp, no sticker, nothing. So I Tokyo, I went to someone who worked at the airport and I was like, is that really it? Like, no one needs to see like my vaccine status or anything like that. And he's like, no, enjoy your stay in London. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, that was it. Now, one thing they do say is before your second day in London, you have to have like a negative, you have to take another COVID test and then it has to be negative. So I took it at the airport. I got my results back like the next evening. No one asked to see it. No one asked what the results were, nothing. So that was like a waste of $95. It was like 70 pounds and it came out to like $95. That's another thing I'm gonna get into a little bit later on this list, the money. So yeah, even though cases are higher here than in Korea, they are not really taking it all that seriously. Like, you'll see the signs that says keep your distance everywhere. You'll see the signs that say put on your mask on the tube, the subway. You'll hear please wear your mask. It protects us all unless you are exempt. Please understand that everyone who is exempt is not visibly... What? Visibly? So as I hear these announcements, I'm like the only one wearing my mask. I'm like, oh word, everybody exempt. Okay. Now in Korea, you have to wear your mask everywhere. Like, last I was there anyway. So as of June, you have to wear your mask everywhere you go. And even if you're fully vaccinated and you go to Korea, if you're not fully vaccinated in Korea, then it doesn't count and you still have to quarantine. So I mean, I had a pretty good stay at, I think, the Ramadan? No, Ramadan. What the fuck? Yeah, that cost me like $1,500 for the 2 weeks that I was there. They're very strict in Korea. Not so much here in the UK. I do understand that more people here are vaccinated than in Korea, so that could probably have a lot to do with it. But even though I'm fully vaccinated, I've heard about the breakthrough cases, so I keep my mask on. In Korea, when you go to a restaurant or any public place, you have to have your temperature checked. You have to scan in with a QR code. If you don't, you have to sign in. So like, if there's an outbreak, they're like, hey, you were here, you need to get tested. Everything, like the mask, the testing, the temperature checks, all that is strict in Korea. Here, I only had my temperature checked once, and that was at a Korean restaurant. Yeah, here they don't seem to care anymore. So the next thing I want to get into is like the city smells. And honestly, for any major city, you get that thing where you just get a waft of sewage and it just slaps you in the face.
That's nasty.
It happens. I remember it happening all the time in Times Square in New York. But here, I haven't really smelled that. Now, my friend Daisy said, no, girl, it happens here too. But for me, as much as I've been in London and I haven't smelled it, I'm like, it's not as common as it was in Seoul, for example, or Busan, or any of the major cities in Korea. It just randomly, when you're on any corner, when you're standing at a red light, you just, oh my God. You kind of get that city smell. Not so much here, which is nice. The next difference that I think I've noticed is the way girls dress here. Now it has, well, when I first got here, it was like pretty hot, but now it's actually a little chilly and you see how gray it is out. But yeah, here you'll see girls wearing like crop tops and really short skirts at the same time. The way they dress casually is kind of how Korean girls dress when they're going out clubbing for the night. Very like revealing clothes, which is nice that, you know, this is the country where girls can do that and not really give a fuck what anybody has to say. In Korea, I think they're a lot more conservative and like conscious of how they might invite unwanted attention, or perverts gonna be pervs. You know, the whole spy cam situation over there. That's like my least favorite thing about Korea, honestly. I feel like in Korea, when you see a girl wear like a crop top, she'll wear like jeans or like a high-waisted long skirt, or like it'll be a long sleeve crop top or something like that. But here, everything is just kind of combined. Bellies out, arms out, thighs out, all the time, which is nice. But that was definitely something that I just remember standing out to me a lot. It was hot. The currency conversion, oh my God.
Oh my days!
London is kicking my ass. The UK is making me broke.
I'm broke, bitch!
Now, I'm used to like, when I go to Korea and I like swipe my card and I spend like, let's say I spend 50,000 won. I'll notice on my bank account, only like 40 bucks will come out, something like that. In London or anywhere in England I've been so far, if I spend 50 pounds, fucking $72 will come to my bank account. And I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, I knew it was bad. I've shopped at like Pretty Little Thing for a few years now, and I remember seeing the pound to dollar exchange before they had like their US store. So I was familiar with that, and I was like, God, I'm spending a lot in US dollars. But living it every day sucks. Speaking of kicking my ass and being expensive, transportation. So in Korea, every time you like tap your T-Money card, you get like a free transfer. So like if you take a bus, you can take a train for free, and you tap when you get off when you need to do it again. Here, I think the other day on Sunday, I put like 10 pounds on my card, and I swear to God, I only took like 3 trains, and I needed to top up again. And 10 pounds in US dollars is like 14. just for 3 fucking trains. Oh my god. Well, I think it was 3 trains and a bus. I think we took the bus too. Honestly, one of the best things about Korea is how cheap it was to get around. Taxis are cheap in Korea, not here. Taxis here are very expensive. I've only taken them like a few times, and that's only when I was desperate. So like, I didn't know any better, right? And when I first got here, I had like my massive suitcase, I had a second check bag, and my personal carry-on bag was a big ass backpack. So I was like, I'm not taking this on the train. I'm not putting myself through that, and it was hot. I did not want to do that to myself. So I took a taxi, and I didn't know that the black taxi, that's one thing that's they have in common. Black taxis in Seoul are more than like the typical taxi. From Heathrow to Kensington, where I was staying, it ended up costing me like 69 pounds, and that came out to be like $97. The taxi ride was like an hour. If I took a taxi for an hour in Korea, I think I would have only spent like $30 to $40. So yeah, I actually get a lot of questions about what transportation's like in Korea. It's awesome, it's affordable, and it's everywhere, and it's easy to use, especially now that a lot of the transportation apps are translated to English, like Kakao and Naver especially is really popular. Here, there's City Mapper, and that's only for London though. I didn't know that until I got outside of London. So yeah, I've been using City Mapper here, and I tend to use like Kakao or Naver in Korea. And another thing I've noticed, you need like a reservation for everything. We were trying to go to some rooftop bars, we were trying to go to some restaurants, and they're like, is your name on the list? Oh, sorry, it's gonna be like an hour wait. It's gonna be 4 hours if your name's not on the list. We tried to get brunch the other day, and we were told it would be like an hour unless our name was on the list. I'm just like, what? I've never had to make a reservation in Korea. Thank God, because I can't call and speak in Korean. I'm too scared to. So yeah, with the travel, the sightseeing, the food, all general touristy things in London, in the UK is definitely, well, I can't say the whole UK because I've only been around England. It's definitely way more expensive than in Korea, like by far. Another major difference I've noticed here is the air quality. And maybe that has something to do with how often it rains here, because it really, it'll rain for like 10 minutes and it'll be sunny. Then it'll rain for like 30 minutes and it'll be sunny again. It just kind of goes in and out of rain. It reminds me of Florida weather, because that used to happen a lot in Florida too. Like the sky is always like really blue. In Korea, there tends to be like a general haze that you just kind of get adapted to. Like I remember I didn't even notice it because I spent 2 consecutive years in Korea before visiting back home in the States again. And when I landed in Chicago for my like transfer, I was just like, how long has the sky been that blue? Like that caught me off guard. It looks so much more bluer than I remembered. I think another thing that was actually kind of common, it seems like a lot of people smoke here, like in Korea. I smell cigarette smoke a lot when I'm walking around on the sidewalks in Korea. And I get the same thing here. Like if I'm caught behind somebody, I'm like, oh God. Yeah, I smell cigarette smoke pretty often here, and that actually reminded me of being in Korea. Another thing is, I feel safer here than in the States. Not as safe as I did in Korea. Korea is still, by far, the safest country I've ever lived in. London, honestly, I've been taking a lot of like, obviously I don't recommend this because I've seen the news lately and how girls have been getting stabbed and attacked, and I got lucky, I guess. But the first few nights here, I just went walking. Like I walked from London Bridge Station all the way to Kensington. That was like a 2-hour walk. I walk along the Thames. And now I'm also in the city center, like central London area, so that's obviously gonna be a lot more safer. It's more patrolled. Not so the rough areas of London, like Brixton I've heard is pretty bad, or Croydon I've heard is pretty bad. You're safer in some parts, but again, I felt safe enough to walk around through the parks. Again, I don't recommend that. I was really dumb. But I was just carried away by, you know, being in another country and just wanting to take it in. Because when I'm in a new place, I love to just go walking. I've said that a lot. That's just how I get like the feels and the vibes of the city. I got my music in. I'm just looking around at the different buildings, the different stores, getting familiar with the area on foot because I can take time to take it in instead of just racing by on a car or a bus or like under the ground on the train. But yeah, Korea, still nothing compares to how safe I felt in Korea. And the last thing that I can think of is they drive on the other side of the road and on the opposite side of the car. I've only seen that in Japan and I think in Hong Kong. In the US and in Korea, we drive on the right side of the road and the left side of the car. So that takes getting used to. Crossing the street, I'm always looking the wrong way and then zoom, I'm like, oh shit. Or like when I'm just riding on the bus or something and I'm expecting us to, be on this side of the road or turn right and we turn left, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, other side of the road. That takes some getting used to, but those are probably some of the major differences I've noticed here. It's a lot of foreigners in London. It's really nice. It's very diverse and makes you hear all sorts of languages all around you. That was refreshing. Whereas, obviously Korea is very, very homogenous. But before I start rambling, I'm gonna wrap this video up. So thanks for watching if you did. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.